I'm Maria Mengel, and you're watching Thrive TV, where we dish about all things birth, postpartum, and pregnancy. And today I have Chloe here with me. Chloe French is another doula that works for Thrive, and she's also currently a student midwife. And today we're talking about
Diastasis Recti.
Diastasis Recti. I think that's how you say it.
No one knows how to say it.
But you do know what it is.
Yes.
Can you tell me?
Sure. So basically, when your uterus is growing in pregnancy, it puts pressure against your abdominal muscles. And so sometimes they can split during pregnancy. And it's less common with first-time moms, although it can happen. But certainly if you've had more than one child or if you're carrying multiples, you can have a separation of the abdominal muscles in the front.
Okay, so if that happens, like after pregnancy, does it always go back to the way that it was?
Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the degree of separation and what your individual body type is like. I have known several women that it resolved on its own with time, and other women that it never really went completely back to normal. The big issue with it is that it can create weakness in the pelvic floor and other musculature issues, you know, from the strain on your abdominal muscles. So if you notice that you have a problem with the separation of the abdominal muscles, you may want to go to see a physical therapist to, you know, be evaluated and get some help in correcting that.
Awesome. So how will you know if you have it?
Well, I can demonstrate for you.
Awesome. I'll get out of your way.
Yes. So basically what you'll want to do is lay down on the floor, or in this case on the couch, and you'll want to be flat with your feet flat on the ground and your knees pointing up towards the ceiling. You'll take your hand so that your palm is facing your face and place your fingers in between the muscles of your abdomen and lift up. And if you can fit 2 or 3 fingers in between the ridges of your muscles, then you have separation there. And you'll do it here, you'll do it a little further down, and then you'll do it also below your belly button. And that's kind of the rule of thumb for how you would assess the separation of your abdominal muscles. So.
Awesome. So so if you said if you have 2 or 3 fingers
yes.
between, then that is, you definitely have separation. But what's normal? Like somebody who's never been pregnant before, say. Do they come together and touch?
Often they come together and touch. I feel like I can feel like 1 finger breadth between mine,
okay.
But it's not something that just happens with pregnancy. Like men can have this, children can have this, non-pregnant people can have this. It has to do with like the amount of like force being issued against your abdominal muscles. Interestingly, a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going to do crunches or I'm going to do ab workouts during pregnancy to prevent this, but that actually causes more problems than it prevents. And so you don't want to be doing a bunch of crunches. When you sit up from being on your back, you want to roll to your side and come to a seated position.
Essentially, you're putting more strain on those muscles whenever you do those things
mm-hmm.
instead of strengthening them.
Exactly. So
interesting.
That's another reason why it's really good to work with a physical therapist during your pregnancy, just to get some feedback on how to move to best support your body.
Awesome. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a free PDF link in the comments so that whenever you're watching this, just go down to the comments, click on the link, and what I'll do is I'll explain everything that Chloe just talked about and the little process for how to determine if you have separation. And then I'll also include a resource list of a bunch of things that you can do if you find there is separation, where you can go to find resources, where you can go to find a good physical therapist if you're local, who I would recommend. And that way you can have all that information. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening. And keep tuning in. If you would like to, I would love to hear from you. Post in the comments if this is something that you've experienced before and how you were able to resolve it. Thanks again so much for listening, and keep tuning in. I hope that you're doing well because you deserve to thrive.